But don't you want 100% of the outcome dependent on you? Let's be honest. Some of you are going through life right now and you aren't having 100% of the outcome dependent on you. You putting blame toward this, you putting blame toward that, and you're not taking 100% ownership. So today we're going to talk about getting off autopilot and really being intentional with your decision making. What's going on, everybody? I am Andrew Murray, and this is The Journey Together. Very fortunate and happy to be speaking with you and giving you insight on one's journey to move you further along in your development. And today we're talking about getting off autopilot. Getting off autopilot, and it's so hard to do because typically what happens is you can easily just set back, you can get content, you can get comfortable with whatever you're doing, right? And I get it. Tesla got the cars out that can actually self-steer, and you can just sit back sometimes, right? But how many times does this happen? And in fact, for me, growing up, going through high school, and all these things, going through college, when you get into cruise control and you don't get out of that mindset, I promise you it's going to stay with you. I'll say it again. Whatever mindset you currently have or had, if you don't evolve it, if you don't continue to transform and move your life along within your self-development, your age may grow, but you stay the same. So sometimes you'll look at a middle schooler and they'll have an elementary reading level. Sometimes you look at a high schooler and still have middle school tendencies. Sometimes you look at people in college and they have high school tendencies. It's because they've yet to transform their mind because they're stuck on autopilot. They're stuck on cruise control, right? And I get it. Comfortability, sometimes when you got your foot on the gas for so long, the leg can cramp out. I get it. But you don't want to be on cruise control at all, really. You want to be able to steer and adjust where you need to be. Just like a car, when it's on cruise control, pilot takes off, with the plane, and they have a long flight. For them, it's different because they get on autopilot to make less errors, right? Due to fatigue on long flights, right? But when a car is on cruise control, I know some of them now they have features to slow down based off the car that's in front of them. But don't you want 100% of the outcome dependent on you? Let's be honest. Some of you are going through life right now and you aren't having 100% of the outcome dependent on you. You putting blame toward this, you putting blame toward that, and you're not taking 100% ownership. So today we're going to talk about getting off autopilot and really being intentional with your decision making. So let me tell you why it's so important to get off autopilot. For me, growing up, going through high school, taking my time, being on cruise control, what happened was I was chilling. I was doing whatever the norm was. I was doing whatever the normal was in society was. Whatever that looked like, I was doing it. That was me. Having a good time. Don't get me wrong. I was getting decent grades. I would give a little effort not to be held back, right? Make sure I got the diploma, not got in too much trouble. But let me tell you, I went to college because that was the norm. I didn't think about it. I was on cruise control. I was letting the narrative of what people should be doing at my age control me and dictate my decisions. And let me tell you something. That landed me at about $50K debt. I was in debt, $50K, right? It's cut down a little bit now. I done paid some things off. Not all the way, but we making it. Sally Mae, look out for your boy. But look, I remember going to college and not really understanding why I wanted to go to college. I remember taking out student loans and not really understanding why I was even taking out student loans. It's because I was on autopilot. I wasn't making the decision based off of what I wanted to do. I was making the decision based off of what someone else wanted me to do. What my friends were doing. I didn't want to be the odd one out the picture. And so I don't want it to cost you $50,000 for you to get off autopilot. I want you to take action, and I'm going to give you a few steps so that way you can get off autopilot and get control of your life back. So before we get into steps getting off autopilot, I'm going to give you a few signs of what it may look like when you are in autopilot, right? And one of the things that you can easily tell if you're on autopilot is if you dread the next day. 85% of adults don't like what they do for a living. So you dread the next day. You don't feel like getting up. And even those of you who are in school, when you aren't getting up, when you don't value getting up and going to class, when you dread the next day because you might have that test, when you dread the next day because you didn't turn an assignment on time, you're on autopilot. You're not making conscious decisions to change the outcome of your life. If you don't like what you're doing, are you looking for other opportunities? If not, it's because you're on autopilot. And since you aren't making any changes, that means whatever you currently have, you'll continue to get because you're not changing anything. You're stuck on autopilot. You have cruise control. Another sign of being on autopilot and having that cruise control is you constantly look for temporary pleasures. You constantly look for temporary pleasures, whether you're in school, whether you're at a job, wherever you are. So I'll give you an example. For those of you, we've all been through school, right? Especially right now, those of you are in school, when you aren't really valuing education, you're on your phone, you're scrolling, right? What's interesting? What's really entertaining you really quick? What's the temporary pleasure? Texting in class, you get a quick laugh. Talking in class, you get a quick laugh to distract your brain from learning, or the fact that you don't want to be there in your mind. You always look for temporary pleasures. At work, you can walk around. At work, you can talk to coworkers. You can gossip. You can continue to play on your phone, play video games. Some people playing solitaire, right? Clash of Clans, whatever it is. You really are continuing to look for constant temporary pleasures. And the reason why you seek these things is because your life isn't satisfying enough for you. Come on. Your life isn't satisfying enough for you, so you have to find things to fill the gaps. Otherwise, you go crazy. Here's a final one, and this is huge, y'all. You can ask yourself this question right now. Do you feel purpose in your life? Are you living a meaningful life? If it all ended today, would you be happy? Does your life have meaning? Now, I'm not saying you got to mean something to everybody, but do you feel purposeful? And if you don't, and you aren't gravitating toward what you want, you're in cruise control, right? You're in autopilot. You know there's a better life to be lived, and you aren't living it. Whether you feel like you're not worthy, whether you're too lazy to go get it, you aren't living the life that you want to live. And when that's the case, and you aren't moving toward it, because here's the thing, if you have a goal or if you have a lifestyle that you want and you're moving toward it, you'll feel purpose. You'll feel meaningful, right? You don't have to be in that so-called state of success or reach a certain goal to feel that way. You can be working toward it and feel progression. You can work toward it and feel purposeful. But when you aren't moving toward it, when you aren't moving toward it and getting a goal achieved, and you're stuck in one place, you don't feel meaningful. You don't feel purposeful. And so look, if there's a life out there that you want, you have to go get it. You have to break the cycle and get off autopilot and go take what's yours. And now I'm going to give you a few steps to help you out with that. Number one, we talked about this last week as well. Knowing what you want, knowing the outcome, knowing the lifestyle you want, right? We know the plane taking off. We know when the plane hits a certain altitude, it's going to get on cruise control, right? But where's the destination? Where are you trying to go? You have to identify where you're going so that way you can make adjustments right now, because when you get off cruise control and you start making decisions, you have to align that with the designated outcome, the desired outcome, right? Whatever your destination is, you have to list it. You have to see it. So much so it's all you see. Napoleon said, I only see the objective. The obstacle must give way. Some of y'all looking at the obstacle too much. You're looking at the obstacle too much. And what I need you to do is know the destination, see it, and keep it in front of you. Another step to help you out with getting off autopilot is really writing down a time budget. Writing down the last few big decisions you've made and what they were based on. Track how you spend your time. If you know the outcome you want, does your actions align up with what the outcome is? If I know I want to be a person of fitness, am I eating out all the time? Am I snacking at the crib? Am I skipping workouts, including leg day, because we know what that is for men? Are we aligning our actions with exactly what it is we want in life? And if you aren't, that self-awareness tip, if you aren't aligning your actions, you must make adjustments. And in order to make adjustments, you got to get off cruise control. Because again, cruise control is set at a certain speed. It's set at a certain elevation in the air for a pilot to go ahead and say, okay, I'm putting this bad boy in autopilot. In cruise control, you can hit 75 when driving on I-95 up the interstate. Okay, I'm going to put this bad boy right here. I'm going to sit back and relax my legs. And you aren't changing anything. So in order to change, you have to get off autopilot. And the best way to get off autopilot is to identify that, I'm not on the track to go where I'm trying to get to. So if I'm not on line with getting to my destination, I got to make a change. Take a left, take a right, take that exit, get off and look at the map again. Whatever you got to do, take a step back and readjust. Here's your final one. Be intentional with having fun. I read this book the other day and it said, be like children. Children are never on autopilot. Have you seen it? Please let me know. I like to study them. It just doesn't happen. They wake up. They're trying to learn something. They're trying to do something. They are active. Imagination running wild. You can build a fort out of chairs and tents and you'll be perfectly fine with a child because it's their imagination. They're doing something that excites them. Some of you are on autopilot because you aren't doing anything that excites you. So I need you to dig deep and find out what would get you up in the morning. What activity will put a smile on your face when you wake up? Because again, this plane does land. This plane does land. Life does not go on forever. So get off autopilot and get exactly what you want. This is the journey together. I am Andrew Murray. Drop down below in the comments the first step you will take toward getting off autopilot. I'll talk to you soon.